In the previous article, the 9-to-1 ratio at Lake Herman Road, we discussed how 10 casings were marked at the crime scene, but only 9 appeared to arrive at the Department of Justice ballistics analysis. In other words, 1 casing went missing from crime scene to the Department of Justice. In this video, we'll be discussing the missing bullet from the crime scene. Now, we know that 10 casings were marked at the crime scene, and they determined that 2 bullets were never recovered and 8 bullets were determined to have been retrieved. Although, were they? They knew from autopsy that Betty Lou Jensen had been struck 5 times in the back. So that was 5 bullets. They determined that 1 bullet was recovered from David Faraday. That's 6 bullets. And they determined that 2 bullets were retrieved from the Rambler, which is 8 bullets. So they determined that 8 bullets they could account for that night. 5 into Betty Lou, 1 from David Faraday and 2 from the Rambler. That's 8. They determined that were the amount of bullets that were recovered. But Betty Lou was struck 5 times. 2 bullets were recovered from her body at autopsy. She had 3 exit wounds, but of these 3 exit wounds, only 2 of those bullets were mentioned in the Department of Justice report. 1 bullet was found in the panties of Jensen, and 1 bullet was found on the ground near Jensen's body. That was discovered on her blood-spattered path when she ran away from the killer. That means that only 2 of the 3 exit wound bullets were recovered. What happened to the 3rd one? Now, there appears to be a missing bullet that didn't arrive at the Department of Justice report. Now, this wouldn't really matter and could be put down to a simple error. If it wasn't for BB, a regular contributor to this site, who drew my attention to this video from Great Crimes and Trials. Take a listen.
Only 2 weeks later, on the 11th of October, a taxi driver was seen slumped in his cab, being searched by a stocky white man. When police arrived, they found that Paul Stine had been shot dead. Witnesses enabled the police to draw up this portrait, which was widely circulated. But any doubts about the killer's identity were dispelled the next day, when a letter from Zodiac arrived at the San Francisco Chronicle. With it was a blood-stained piece of the driver's shirt and a bullet from the same pistol that had killed Jensen and Faraday.
Now, ordinarily, a mistake in a documentary is no big deal, but here they appeared to have completely invented a new fact and just stated that a bullet was recovered from the October the 13th, 1969 Paul Stine letter. Now, he included a swatch of the taxicab driver's shirt to prove his connection to the murder of Paul Stine on October the 11th in Presidio Heights. Had he also included a bullet to connect himself to the murders in the Bay Area, and in this case the Lake Herman Road murders of David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen? If you take a look at the wording on the letter of the October the 13th Paul Stine letter, it states, I am the murderer of the taxicab driver over by Washington Street and Maple Street last night. To prove this, here is a blood-stained piece of his shirt. I am the same man who did in the people in the North Bay area. Had he included the bullet retrieved from the turnout at Lake Herman Road to prove such a fact?